Whether you have a PlayStation 3 and you got superior graphics powered by some fancy named processor, or you have a Nintendo Wii with a supposedly innovative new way to experience game playing, the console's actual hardware will always take a backseat when it comes to what games are available. I mean, who cares about a system if there's nothing you want to play on it? It's the games, dummy! Oh, and it's the loop. I don't really think you're dumb, by the way. Joining us via satellite tonight from San Francisco, Previews editor for Electronic Gaming Monthly, Bryan Intihar, and from Los Angeles, G4 gaming expert, Geoff Keighley is here. Welcome to The Loop, gentlemen.
Hey, guys. Hey, thanks for having me.
Geoff, let's get this bad boy started here, because a few more bumps for Sony down their windy PR road this morning. It seems I was on Fox News this morning talking about gaming glitches, some backwards compatibility issues, only 13 launch titles. This backwards compatibility thing, is this really going to hurt them now? Is this just another problem for Sony, or do gamers, they don't even care at this point?
I think there are some issues with backwards compatibility, but it's like, you look at Xbox 360, which doesn't have, many games that are coming out now, even on the Xbox, backwards compatible. So, Scarface came out, doesn't even work on the Xbox 360. So, there are 200 games that they're saying aren't really working in Japan. Some aren't working with sound. I think most of the major games are probably going to work. And, by the end of the day, they're going to get fixed through software updates, through firmware updates, I think. So I'm confident that's going to work. And, people are buying their PS3 for the new games, not for the old ones.
Sure. It's 2.5% roughly of the PlayStation 2 library that doesn't work. It seems like a dismal number at best. But, Bryan, of course, gaming blogs and forums are all in an uproar over this. Is this bad PR move going to hurt any sales in these last few days?
I mean, first of all, it's not going to hurt sales because there's not enough units to even buy. So, I mean, that's a mute point right there. I mean, the problem is, like kind of Geoff said, you're buying this PS3 for the new games. You're not buying it for the PS2 and the PS1 games. And, the percentage of that, 200 or so that aren't playable, probably maybe 10 of them you really care about. So I just don't think it's a big deal. I think basically the message boards guys are making a big deal out of it.
All right, and I completely agree. Let's get into the games then, because that's what, of course, this is about, these new games. Bryan, PlayStation 3 is not shipping with a title in the box. Wii, on the other hand, they've got the sports titles that are coming with it, which Time Magazine, oddly enough, says might be the greatest video game ever made.
Oh, come on.
I think that's the biggest, ridiculous statement I've heard about a video game ever.
Yeah, and I think most most gamers would agree, but could that perhaps be a testament to the power of the experience that the Wii has on somebody who's not a traditional gamer?
I've played Wii Sports, and I've talked about it with people who really don't play games, and yeah, it sounds interesting and innovative, in terms of you play the game just like you would the sport. But I mean, you've seen those crappy plug in and play games do those types of features, so it's not that innovative.
And there's not much depth to it either. Yeah, you play Wii baseball.
Yeah, you can really do it. Yeah. Well, you could do everything within that game in an hour and be kind of done.
Right. Obviously, going for mass appeal with Wii Sports as a bundle. I mean, it's nice that they're giving it away, but what about something like Zelda? How's Twilight Princess holding up, Geoff?
That's the game for hardcore gamers that you want to play.
Exactly.
So, Wii Sports is a fine pack-in, but Zelda, that's probably one of the most epic launch games ever, and I actually think it's kind of underhyped, because that's one of the biggest games of this year, and everyone's talking about, the Wii as a system, Wii Sports, but Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is more epic than Gears of War. I think it's, one of the best games of the year, and one of the best games of the past couple of years, actually.
If Time Magazine said that about Zelda, I would believe it more than saying about Wii Sports.
Sure.
Exactly.
Well, what Geoff said was interesting, that it's more epic than Gears of War. People are saying the only answer Sony has to a Gears of War, this holiday season, is going to be Resistance Fall of Man. Bryan, have you got your hands on this title? Is this the system seller that people are saying it is?
Yeah, I finished Gears of War twice. I've played Resistance, and I really think right now this is an unfair comparison. Microsoft played this game perfectly. They released it at the perfect time, the best-looking game we have on a console right now, and by far it looks way better than Resistance.
Sure.
But Gears of War isn't doing 40-player multiplayer. It's not a first-person shooter. It's a little bit comparing apples and oranges here. I think it's kind of unfair that it's getting matched up against each other. Yet, for Microsoft, it's working out great because they have the best-looking game. Their console's cheaper. You can actually go buy their console. But I think it's
all right, fair enough. But ignoring the
comparison,
Geoff, ignoring the comparison between Gears and Resistance, does Resistance stand on its own? Is it a system seller?
Well, I think thank God they have it, right? Because, without Resistance, the PS3 launch lineup is not that great. I think back to Xbox 360. Yeah, Xbox 360 had Call of Duty 2, which was the best game. They had some other sort of okay, B-level games. PS3, would really be hurting without Resistance. So it's worth it. Is it worth $600 for that single game? Absolutely not. but you're obviously buying.
I don't know if any
like,
game is worth $600.
Yeah, you're buying a console for the future
game.
potential. You're buying it for Metal Gear Solid 4, for Killzone 2, those games that are going to be coming out down the road.
All right, well, let's ignore the future. Let's focus on the launch real quickly.
Right.
Brian, looking at the launch lineup, which console are you more excited for, the Wii or the PS3?
Well, Zelda makes you go for the Wii.
All right,
Definitely,
Wii for
no
Brian.
doubt.
Jeff, do you agree? PlayStation 3
Yeah, I
or
agree
Wii?
absolutely. I mean, if, the best game this year that you're going to buy on a launch system will be Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess.
All right, there you have it. I want to thank our guests, Brian and Jeff, for keeping us in the loop. Interesting stuff coming out of it. Listen, I personally give the launch lineup gold star to the Nintendo Wii as well. We all agree there, but it's kind of a moot point. Sony doesn't really have to rely on killer titles to push their next-gen console. With the outrageous amounts of hype and the dismal shipment numbers, chances are the PS3 will have the system sellers that it needs next holiday, when the consoles are actually available for purchase. They hope.